Hi, my name is Krisztina Czika. I'm a conceptual artist and designer based in Amsterdam. And today I am here to talk a little bit about the Refraction collection that is now being shown in Genoa. The project started basically 2 years ago when I was in a residency in Sri Lanka, just when the pandemic hit and I got locked and stuck in Sri Lanka. I couldn't leave the country because I had a Hungarian passport and my visa was not freshed up or whatever, and I couldn't fly back to Amsterdam, so I decided to stay in Sri Lanka, unknowing what will happen to us and what will follow with the pandemic. And what I thought is going to last for 2 weeks actually lasted for about 9 months, with a lot of ups and downs. Sri Lanka has handled the pandemic in a very strict way. We had a very strong lockdowns and curfew situation with a lot of strict rules. Like we couldn't leave the apartment for 6 days, and then we got 1 day to get out for 6 hours and shop for the upcoming 6 days. So that was happening or lasting for about 4 months, which was also unknown how long it will last. And I found myself quite heavily mentally distressed in this period. I really missed my freedom. I was living on a beach and I couldn't even walk on the beach. I could see the ocean every single day, but I could not swim in it, and that was very heavy for myself as an artist, but also as a human being, obviously. And soon, in a month or two, I started to actually sneak out and escape in this sort of a beautiful jail per se. And I started to sneak out to swim in the ocean and start to explore the underwater. Since no one can see me underwater, I thought that would be a way to a little bit explore and learn about the ocean and try to feel my energies back and try to use the time creatively as well. So unknowingly I started to take photographs underwater, and soon I started to share them on my social media, where people and my friends started to sneak out and come along to these journeys underwater. And I don't know how, but these kind of sessions when friends came over to the same spot where I've been swimming, we started to create sort of talking groups, or we had sessions of few hours where we not only would swim and take photos underwater, but we would also talk about who and how deals with this situation, with the pandemic and with the lockdowns and with being locked up and personal and relationship issues. And we all found ourselves in such situations that we couldn't imagine, and we didn't know how to handle it. So it took, this project lasted long, about 2-3 months, me taking thousands of photos underwater. And I didn't know yet what to do with these photos. I just did it for myself to try to still be creative and try to keep myself busy. And then as soon as I was able to return back to the Netherlands in Amsterdam, I started to process these photos and I started to look at them. And with the time spent between, I started to categorize these photographs in such ways how I perceive them as well by taking them. So the Divergence series is basically based on 3 collections: Reflection, Refraction, and Distortion. And that is basically the concept behind the 3 collection, is how I felt and how I related to the water and to my mental health in the period of time. And it's always started with reflection, whether it's self-reflection in a mental way, trying to understand my fears, my worries, my wishes, my needs, my feelings. And underwater started to see actually the reflection that can be caused by the specific angle of the light, the specific angle of the photographs taken, and of course a face very close to the surface. So while I was taking these self-reflecting photographs, I started to realize that behind the photographs there are also a sort of mental reflection. And especially with the people and the models that I took them with, they were going through a lot of self-reflection alongside with me. The Refraction series, which is, collection, and that is actually what's visible and what you can see in the exhibition in Genoa, was related to, once you understand your feelings and needs and wishes, in your mind, or at least in mine, these thoughts somehow scatter and refract. So there is one thought that can actually just like explode into many, many smaller things and thoughts. And just as light can refract in water, I felt like my mind and my thoughts can also refract in my own head. So I started to capture these refractions, light refractions in water, and started to try to combine the refraction with a sort of bodily expression that was coming together with the concept of refraction and mental refraction. So the 3 artworks that you can see now in Genoa is related to this refracting times and thoughts, as well the refraction in the water, the light, how the light refracts in water. And the last collection is about to be debuting now in Amsterdam, called Distortion, and that's actually the last puzzle per se of this series, which I started to feel somewhere in the end of my journey, in this lockdown situation, whereby I started to self-realize and self-reflect, and my thoughts started to scatter and refract, and then somehow they ended up and landed in a sort of distorted reality, into pictures and ideas and thoughts that are distorted from what was actually the situation, or what was actually the feelings and needs in those times and moments. So Distortion is going to debut next week, and I hope that you will be able to see that too. And meanwhile, I hope you enjoy the series, especially the Refraction collection, now shown in Genoa.